What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, your man's Toxic Gamer 331, back out with another video. And today, I'm going to give you my list of my top 30 favorite movies of all time. And I am not the only one that's doing this video. Also, Skadiwi, aka my friend Ace, who is also doing his top 30 favorite movies of all time on his channel, so be sure to check him out. And yeah, before we get into the actual video itself, guys, this is my personal list. We all have very different lists, I presume, so yeah, like I said, this is just my list, so, and then you guys probably have different lists too, so, yeah, but don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, and number two, we are on the road to 70 subscribers, just 2 away, and it would really help your boy out if you did subscribe. Don't forget to like the video if you like, my movie lists or whatever. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss notification when I upload. Also, do share the video because that would also help me out, and feel free to comment your lists down below. So before we go into my actual top 30, I have 3 honorable mentions, and I'll just breeze by them pretty quick. Honorable mention number 1 goes to Train to Busan. I saw the trailer and was going like, oh, that looks good, but I didn't know they were gonna dub it or whatever, so I ended up watching the movie and loving it with just them speaking in regular language with subtitles, and I never thought I would like a movie like that in years, and I absolutely love Train to Busan. My only gripe that I have is that would go into spoiler territory. I'm not trying to go into spoiler territory, but the characters later on, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I think it, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying not to go into spoilers, sorry. Another honorable mention, I have to give it to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. If I could have put the whole entire Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes trilogy down here, but I thought I only have to choose really one, so I went with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which this one was super good. Yeah, I think it was definitely better than Rise, but Rise is still amazing, and War is still amazing. Koba is the best villain out of all 3. I mean, Woody Harrelson is good too, but this has the best villain, and yeah, that's all I have to say. And then my final honorable mention goes to Yesterday, which I just watched. When did I watch it? On Thursday, I rewatched that for the 2nd time ever, and it's a really cute movie. I love that movie. Basically, a dude ends up forgetting that, everybody around him ends up forgetting the Beatles after he wakes up from getting run over by a truck or whatever, and he starts singing the Beatles songs and becoming really popular. And it has Ed Sheeran in it, too, playing himself, so yeah. Alright, let's get to my top 30 favorite movies of all time. Shall we begin? Alright, 30th place, this might shock some people, but this is my favorite out of the Rocky movies, and that is Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa, after the controversial Rocky 5, like, during that, there's nothing bad in it, it's just the way it ends, and it seemed like it was gonna end the whole entire Rocky franchise. A few years later, I don't know how many years, but a sequel ended up coming out called Rocky Balboa, where Rocky's retired now, living his own life, and he basically comes out of retirement for one more match because so many people are saying there's this new boxer that would easily lose to him. So them two have a fight at the end, and yeah, I just love this one compared to the other two. I can't put my finger on it, and it's been a long time since I rewatched it, but I love it. And I can't wait to rewatch that again. 29th place. I'm sure pretty much all of us would have, the majority of us would have this on our favorite movie list somewhere. And that is Christopher Nolan's Inception. So Inception came out 2014, I'd like to say. And this movie is just packed. It has a star-studded cast. Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, I think that's how you pronounce that. Leonardo DiCaprio, who else? Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, there's just so many people in this. The mind-bending visuals in here. What other stuff can I think of? It gives a very unique plot for a story where if you were in a dream or whatever, a dream heist, and you could control dreams, and yeah. And it's it's a movie that makes you think. And some people, when watching it, they're confused by it, but then when you rewatch it over and over again, it becomes even more better. And the action scenes are pretty cool too. There's one scene in here with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's fighting somebody in the dream world, and the building is because in real life the car is like flipping over and stuff. They end up going upside down on the hotel building, so they're fighting each other on the wall, and it's really cool. So yeah, if you haven't seen Inception, man, you're missing out. You gotta see that. 28th. This is my favorite Star Wars movie, I've decided, and that is Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Now, as a kid, this was always my favorite too. It is, I would probably say it's the darkest out of all the Star Wars movies, which I like. And even though Hayden Christensen delivers a better performance as Anakin Skywalker in here. What else? What other stuff? I can't think. I should have wrote notes. Darn it. The fight scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin at, I forgot what the planet was called, but the lava planet when they're facing each other. That's quite cool. I love that scene too. And it gives you a unique motive that Anakin why he listens to Palpatine. So, yeah. So that's 28th. Number 27 is my favorite out of the Mission Impossible franchise. Mission Impossible Fallout, which I think I remember from my top 100 favorite movie of all time list, which is outdated compared to this, because back then I really didn't have much taste. This time I have a little bit more better taste. But I still have some bad movies where I don't like them, but I see the positives that come out of them. So, but yeah, I'm a little bit different with that now. But Mission Impossible Fallout is my favorite now. And the action scenes, again, great. Probably the best out of all the Mission Impossible movies. Henry Cavill is my favorite villain out of all the villains in the Mission Impossible franchise. The bathroom scene, especially, where Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise are I should say Paul Walker and Ethan Hunt are facing the John Lark, I think that's what the dude's name is, in the bathroom. That's a great scene too. And can't wait for the 7th one. I'm sure that one's gonna be great too. 26th place. I was deciding what my favorite Walt Disney animation movie was over there. And I was thinking of, and how I arranged this as well, is how I arranged them by thinking that they're flawless. There's nothing wrong with them at all. 26th place goes to Tarzan. The soundtrack by, what's the dude's name? Phil Collins is amazing for the movie. The animation it isn't too dated. It still holds up quite well. And Tarzan was just a great choice to do a Disney animated adaptation of the movie. So Disney did a good choice about that, and it did a great job not following the origins too much of Tarzan, how he ended up becoming the ape man. I was trying to do a monkey thing. But yeah, that never really worked out. 25th place, my favorite Christmas movie, I have decided now, and that is Home Alone 1. And if this is dated too, because when I did my Home Alone ranking in December of 2020, I would like to say, or 2021, I had Home Alone 2 at my favorite. So, yeah, it's a little bit dated. I think it has the better traps, but Home Alone still has some pretty good traps, though. The iron dropping on freaking, what's the dude's name?
It's Marv, you dummy.
Marv's head, that looked like it hurt. The freaking doorknob burning his hand or whatever, and then the blowtorch making his hair go on fire. And it's just a great, entertaining movie, and it's interesting if you did get left home alone and you could do whatever you want, basically, with no, what's the word? I can't think of the word because I'm blanking out. Sorry, guys. But if you haven't seen Home Alone, man, it's a Christmas classic. You gotta watch that one. 24, The Batman. And I know what you guys are saying. Probably it's recency biased. Maybe it might be recency biased. But I thought this movie was perfect. There's nothing wrong here. That's why it's in my top 30, because I had nothing wrong with it. I thought what's the word? How long the movie was, I thought that was perfect, and there was no scenes in there that they could have trimmed out or whatever. Robert Pattinson is now my favorite Batman out of all the franchise. This is my favorite Batman movie. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman was amazing. The Riddler in here with Paul Dano, man. Apparently he had to requested to film the scene with, where he's talking to Batman on the FaceTime call or whatever in his room, literally 200 times. So he requested to do that 200 times, which is insane, and that tells you how much Paul Dano really cares about his acting performances. And the Riddler, I know this might be a hot take, but that Riddler, I think, is my favorite Batman villain out of all the movies. I said it. It's just that they gave such a dark version of this Batman movie that most of the people have wanted for years, that have read the comics and wanted a dark, gritty DC version of the Batman, and we got it here. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin is unrecognizable and a great little side villain, but I cannot wait for that show, that Penguin show that's coming to HBO Max 2024. So yeah. 23rd place, I have my favorite musical, I think, right? Is there not any other musicals on here? Yeah, all the rest aren't musicals, but my favorite musical will go to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think, is a little bit overhated by, like, the critics loved it, but the audience didn't really, some people didn't like it. I thought that it was good, but nowhere near the classic of the original was. Gene Wilder, it was a perfect casting choice as a kind of a Mad Hatter inspired character named Willy Wonka, based off, and this is a great book book adaptation, my goodness, I need some water, of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book, duh. But also there's some trippy scenes in here that are creepy and used to freak some people out, and I think it still does freak some people out with the ferry boat scene. I think that's what it's titled, where basically they're going down the tunnel with lots of colors moving around and stuff, and Gene Wilder's just singing creepily on the boat ride. Yeah, I just think this is a perfect musical, and yeah, it still holds up quite well, even though it was made in the 60s, I would like to say, right? I think so, yeah. I'll check that later, but yeah, I think it still holds up quite well, and makes you hunger for chocolate during it, so yeah. Or some sort of candy. 22nd plate. 22nd. I'm trying not to repeat the same thing over and over again. Coming in at number 22, I have Warrior. So I heard from Sean Chandler and Cody Leach both before I had this movie that it was a very great movie that not a whole lot of people have seen. And man, they were right. So I think this is, as of this right now, I think it is my favorite sports type movie. But it's more than that. So what the story goes as is Tom Hardy, who plays Tommy, funnily. I think that's what the main character's name is. Where him and his brother are both kind of failing financially. Well, I wouldn't say Tommy is failing financially, but the other brother is. So they both hear about a tournament coming up in MMA type style fights, and they both end up competing in it, and they're trying to win. So I'll leave it at that. But man, is it and the final fight is very what's the word? It's very tension. You feel the tension, and it's very emotional, and it has a great ending too. And yeah, it's perfect and a great movie. Number 21 is Knives Out. Knives Out, I think, is my favorite murder mystery, what I like to say. Yes, it is. So what Knives Out is, if you have not seen it, which funnily enough, I'm gonna rewatch that tonight. Knives Out is just a unique take on the murder mystery movie type flavor, because it has really funny humor, as a star-studded cast with Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Oh, Ana de Armas, and I'm forgetting. For some reason, I'm forgetting the other people, but that's okay. But yeah, it just has a star-studded cast. It's very funny, and also it does a lot of red herrings in different sentences and stuff, going like, oh, it might be this guy, it might be this guy, and does a great job of doing that, and does a great job of explaining it. But I mean, for the first time, I was a little bit confused, but when you rewatch it, you kind of understand how you connect the dots and go, oh, that happened. So yeah, I think it's just a clever murder mystery. And the sequel was quite good too, but not as great as Knives Out is. Top 20, people. 20. Coming in at number 20. Ratatouille, for my favorite Pixar movie. I'm 95% sure that's what I put out there. It has a very weird plot. When you hear it, you go, a rat that can cook? And then you watch the actual movie and it goes like, wow, that's way more better than that had any right to be, and it's fantastic. Pixar is very common with having these weird plots and turning them into great movies. Ratatouille being one of them. What other ones? Toy Story, Yeah, I mean, it wasn't very unique because kids always wonder if their kids can move, their toys can move. Uh, what other stuff there? Inside Out too. Yeah, Pixar is just great, a great movie franchise. And Ratatouille, you if you love to cook, you'll love this movie because I don't personally love cooking, but I love food, and it describes food so passionately. I forgot what the character's name, the actor's name, I should say. Sorry, that plays Remy, but he was great voice choice in this. He's also from King of Queens. It also has Linguini in here, who's the main human character that is quite charming in his own way. What other stuff can I think of? That sometimes the animation can be a little bit creepy, which I dig, but yeah, this movie, I just love this movie. 19th place, I'm going to go with my favorite gangster movie, I think. I keep on looking back, go like, is it my favorite gangster movie? And it is. And that is Public Enemy. Probably most of you guys do not know what this is. So as a kid, there's a great movie ride at Disney World, and I always wanted to get the movies that were popped up in the actual movie ride itself. And there's a gangster type type area, gangster type movie area that I thought was really cool. And that held place to a couple James Cagney movies, which I got introduced to James Cagney. So we got a 4-pack, which I showed in my complete movie collection not too long ago, of all, not all, but some gangster movies with James Cagney. And that's how I got introduced to James Cagney. And James Cagney, when I was younger, was my favorite movie actor. He's still a great actor, probably top 10 for me, but this movie, even though the ending, I mean, most old movies, like old movies, great black and white, have horrible endings. This one doesn't have that much of a bad ending, I would like to say. It's not as bad as the other ones, but it's just a great mob flick, and James Cagney was great at acting in it. Coming in at number 18, I have, wait, what's the theme song go like again? No, what? That's Titanic. I mean, Titanic, wait, what? I'm trying to think of the theme song. I'm trying to think. Whatever, I'll just say it. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. It's been a while since I've seen the other two, but I really love the first Lord of the Rings. It's just a great fantasy movie, and based off the actual book. Yeah, based off the actual books, dummy. This had some pretty unique visuals at the time, too. I think it came out in 1999, I'm pretty sure. Somebody correct me about that down below. Lord of the Rings also has a star-studded cast, too. Well, actually, it has actors that weren't that big yet. It had, Elijah Wood, was he big there? No, he wasn't that big now. Then, Sean Penn, I think, not Sean Penn. I forgot what, the dude from the Goonies, I forgot what his name was. Ian McKellen, Oh, come on, I really like that actor. The actor that plays, not Sauron. The other dude that has a name with S. Can we just point out, by the way, that there's 2 villains in here that have the name that starts with S? That's really weird, but it's funny. Andy Serkis as Gollum. I mean, I don't think he pops up in this one at all, actually, but the end scene, too, the orcs are creepy as all heck in this, and yeah. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, man, it's great. 17 is, well, actually, I said the Batman was my favorite comic book movie. This is my favorite comic book movie. And that is Spider-Man 2002 with Tobey Maguire. This basically kicked off the whole entire comic book movie genre. I love this movie. Pretty much everybody does. Tobey Maguire was just a great choice to pick as the as Spider-Man in this. And originally it was supposed to be Leonardo DiCaprio, that would have been weird. But Tobey Maguire was a great choice suggestion by Leonardo DiCaprio. What's her name? Kristen Dunst as MJ is good too, even though she screams a lot, like all the time. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, one of the better comic book movie villains of all time. Yeah, overall, it's just a great comic book movie, and I'm pretty sure everybody back in the day, when they saw him shoot webs out of his wrist, they tried doing that and climbing up walls and all stuff. Yeah, that kicked off a lot of that kicked off a whole lot of people's ideas about trying to and then trying to climb and swing or whatever and break their legs. So, yeah. 16 is The Martian. The Martian is about a dude who ends up getting left on Mars by accident because his crew members thinks he's dead. And he ends up living there for a couple of years and just trying to survive. And Matt Damon is that Martian. And later, the crew members end up find out at NASA that he's still on Mars, and they're trying to save him. So, yeah, and he ends up surviving there by growing crops, and it's a really fun and entertaining movie. I like this movie a lot, and I remember wondering if this is going to be boring or whatever the first time I watched it, which it was probably when I would say probably 12 or 13. That might be when. But it wasn't. It was an entertaining movie, and Matt Damon has a lot of charisma in here as the main role. Coming in at number 15, the top 15, and this is my favorite Disney movie, and that is Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is amazing, man. It has such a lot of good things going for it. If you're a video game lover, you'll definitely love this movie. I think isn't it based off the real Wreck-It Ralph game or whatever? I forgot if it was a real Wreck-It Ralph game or whatever. But it gives the question, what happens if the characters in your video game box machine, I forgot what the term was, but at an arcade, what they do when the shop closes or whatsoever. Yeah. It's just really great. John C. Reilly was a great voice to choose as Ralph. Great visuals in here, and there's so many so much candy in here. You get hungry for candy at Sugar Rush, especially. And yeah, it's just a rewatchable animated movie, and I love Wreck-It Ralph to death. And Ralph Breaks the Internet's not a good sequel, but I think it still has rewatch value to it, but it's not a good sequel. 14th place, The Thing from... Okay, I'm just going to move that off. I just spat over my camera. Yeah, that will happen sometimes when I talk too much, guys. 14th place, The Thing from 1984. John Carpenter's The Thing, not the movie with I haven't seen it yet, but the prequel or whatever that came out in 2011. But The Thing is a really unique monster premise. The not CGI, but the props and stuff for the actual Thing transformations and stuff still freaks you out to this day. And it looks even better than some other stuff do right now in movies. It looks incredibly realistic. It gives a unique plot, too, where everybody can't trust anybody because the Thing might be one of them. That's a unique thing there, too. And I just love this movie. And yeah, it's untouched. It's one of the greats. of the horror sci-fi movie genre. Coming in at number 13, I was losing track there for a second. We got the, hang on, wait, I gotta do the Karate Kid kick. Hang on. Oh gosh. Well, that was my imitation of the Karate Kid kick. I don't know if that went well, but luckily there was a pillow right beneath me, so I didn't hurt myself or anything. So that's good news. Just a great 80s movie. And would this be considered a sports movie? I wouldn't consider it a sports movie. I would consider its own thing. Mr. Miyagi, this movie has so many stuff in it that has carried into the modern century. I guess that's the right term to use. Mr. Miyagi is a great father figure for Daniel in this. The Cobra Kai gave birth to the TV show, which I've not checked out yet. I know, even though I'm a Karate Kid fan, I haven't checked it out yet. But I want to, though. What other stuff can I think of? It gives a little cute romance in there, too. And, yeah, it's just a great movie. And it's untouched compared to the other Karate Kid movies. This is just perfect. Coming in at number 11.
Okay,
Yeah,
hello. This is Lucas from the future.
It is
and
Casino
I'm here
Royale,
telling
my
you
favorite James
that it is
Bond
actually
movie. This
number
is when
12
they
if you see so in the corner, and myself is thinking it's
Daniel
number
Craig,
11 because of my
who had been
handwriting.
known for a side role for
what I'll point that
Lara
out
Croft's Tomb Raider
later. Just
with
wanted to point
Angelina
that
Jolie.
out.
And yeah, it's not just an action movie. It gives it's not 11th place, it's 12th place, sorry. But if you like card games it has some scenes with cards in it that are cool, where he plays a card game and he's trying to kill the villain somehow, and it's great. And Daniel Craig's the best James Bond. I don't care what anybody says, he's the best James Bond. Well, actually, I want to really watch the Pierce Brosnan movies, but I haven't got around to it yet. But I think Daniel Craig's the greatest James Bond. Okay, now actually coming in at number 11, it is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is actually, fun fact, based off the comic books with Indiana Jones that's originally owned by Marvel, which I have one of the comic books over somewhere. I think it's over there. But, yeah, it's real. The Indiana Jones, probably my favorite movie character of all time, if I had to choose one. It's just such it gave birth to the adventure movie genre, based in the dude not killing. I mean, he does kill some Nazis, but he's punching Nazis and stuff, and he's an archaeologist. Archaeologist is Dinosaur Study, bro. Wrong movie. He ends up basically trying to get artifacts back and give them to a museum that the Nazis are keeping. So, yeah, Indiana Jones, man, best movie character of all time, and hopefully they do not screw up Indiana Jones 5, because Indiana Jones 4 is not as good as the other three. I think it's okay, but they dropped the ball with that. And hopefully Indiana Jones, I have trust in it because James Mangold is directing it, the man who made Logan. So 10th place, I have top 10 people. Number 10, The Mummy from 1999. As a kid, I always loved this movie, and I still do. Man, another great adventure movie. It blends all, not just adventure. It has adventure, a romance, horror-ish, not really. What other stuff can I think of? Action. Yeah, it's just a great movie, and it's untouched, and I really love it, and that's my passionate opinion that this is... Yeah, it's just great. I think it's perfect. The CGI it's better than the sequel, and it's what they had at that time, so it was great. The Imhotep, they do a better job on than the original Mummy movie, so yeah, and gave great cast too. It gave birth to the career of Brendan Fraser, of course, who's gone on to win an Oscar from this year? Well, he won an Oscar this year for a movie he did last year, which was called The Whale. So yeah, this kind of kicked off his career, and this movie's amazing. So yeah. Coming in at number 9, I Am Legend. Even though the CGI can be some oofy sometimes, I still love this movie to death. Even though, yes, I know what you guys are thinking. I'm not going to say what if you haven't seen it, but something happens. That's all I'm saying. Well, actually, 2 different things happen that make some people mad probably, and not that rewatchable. I still think this movie is rewatchable. Another great movie by Will Smith. They're supposedly coming out with a sequel to Oh, I was freaking out for a second. I thought I saw a spider in my window, like a tarantula, and I was about to freak out. Because I saw, like, these wires connecting and stuff. And, yeah. Whew, luckily it's not, because I would freak out if a tarantula was near me. But yeah, it's not even, it's a zombie movie kinda, but they're vampires, so they only come out at night. Technically, it's a vampire disease or whatever. I really like I Am Legend. Coming in at number 8. Are you not entertained? It is Gladiator. Gladiator was one of the very first few R-rated movies I saw when I was a kid, and loved. Thought it was good then, but I didn't love it like I did now. And it's not even that gory. It's a great movie. Russell Crowe. It's definitely a stepping stone in his career at the point this movie was made. Joaquin Phoenix was a great scumbag, selfish little brat of a villain. And the actual Gladiator fight scenes were pretty cool too, and it's just a revenge story that ends up turning out great. And if you haven't seen Gladiator, be sure to check it out. It was on Netflix, but I don't think it is on there anymore, but it's great. Watch Gladiator if you haven't already. 7th, again, this might be recency biased, but it's my list, so who cares? So, yeah, it's my list. So, 7th place, John Wick Chapter 4. This movie, I kid you not, had the best action scenes I have ever seen in an action movie before. All the action scenes in movies I've seen before are mid or usual stuff. This has a unique spin on it. All I can say is staircase scene. That's a show stealer right there. Even though it can be goofy at sometimes, how Keanu Reeves has to sell it or whatever, I still think it's great action scene. The scene in the house, too, or apartment complex, I should say, is great as well. And, yeah, it was just this is my favorite out of the John Wick movies, and it was a great send-off for John Wick's character. And, yeah, and it definitely has a door open for a sequel. So, yeah, and I cannot wait to get this movie on 4K, because on my monthly check, you'll expect to see the Blu-ray 3-pack collection of John Wick for my collection. So I'm going to get the 4K when John Wick Chapter 4 comes out. I really love John Wick Chapter 4. Coming in at number 6, my favorite, what's the word again? Like old school movie, so great black and white movie, and that is 12 Angry Men. So originally when I was going to watch this, I was going, oh, great black and white movie. And, I mean, I do like some great black and white movies, don't get me wrong, but and it was about courtroom drama, and I had to watch it for schoolwork or whatever. I was going, oh no, I don't want to watch this. And it blew me away. I loved this movie. It's a great courtroom drama where there's one man who is trying to prove that this one kid that's on trial for a murder, suspected murder. On here, there's one dude who thinks he's innocent, and the rest of them thinks he's guilty, and he's trying to convince them that he is not guilty. So yeah, and I love this movie, and everyone's performance is great in here, and what other stuff? Gotta think about it. Yeah, I just like it a lot, and all the characters are very likable except for two, but that's the purpose of them, because they're supposed to act like jerks or whatever. So yeah, 12 Angry Men, amazing, perfect. And they could do a remake to that nowadays, I'm pretty sure, and they could do that and make some big money, you feel me? I don't know about big money, but they can make some decent amount of money. Top 5 now, guys. Coming in at number 5 is I'm trying to pretend to be a shark. I know, it's cringe. Jaws made so many people over the generations be afraid to go into the water because of sharks. So many people. Oh, in the ocean specifically, but I mean sometimes even the pool, but it made so many people terrified to go into the water. Had a very unique horror movie villain. The kills are quite gory for a PG movie, but they're very unique. The characters, Brody and the two other guys on the ship too, I forgot what their names were great characters to go hunt down the shark. And the shark looks realistic as it's ever been too. So yeah, they did a great job with that animatronic shark. So yeah. Coming in at number 4, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Do I have to say anything? It's one of the great 80s movies that came out around that time, and so many people have been trying to copy the same exact plot as before, with basically somebody crash landing from Earth, from another planet to Earth, and a kid ends up finding him and taking care of him and trying to keep him away from people that are trying to take the alien away and study him. The soundtrack's amazing by John Williams again. The ride's nostalgic too. I love the ride at Universal. And the kid that plays Elliot as well, and Drew Barrymore's in here as a kid too. The kids are really, really likable, and yeah. E.T., every single time I watch it, I love it even more than I did the last time, which extremely loved it. So I love E.T. Coming in at number 3, I think some of my friends were shocked that it kind of dropped down a spot, but that I still think it's perfect by any means, and that is Back to the Future. Best 80s movie out of all of them, in my personal opinion. Gave a unique plot with Marty McFly going back to the future and accidentally making his mom fall in love with him or whatever, so he's trying to get her to like his dad around that time. So yeah. What other stuff is in here too? The soundtrack's amazing too. The John Williams score again, amazing. Wait, or was it Hans Zimmer that did the Back to the Future? I forgot who did the Back to the Future score, but it was amazing. Yeah, I just love Back to the Future. And coming in at number 2, I've decided to bump it over Back to the Future because Back to the Future used to be my second favorite movie of all time. Now it is at number 3. Coming in at number 2 for my favorite horror movie of all time, I'm going with Scream, the original, the OG, 1996. It was just a very unique take on the horror movie genre, giving basically a love letter to it and making fun of it at the same exact time. Ghostface is an iconic villain. Everybody nowadays at Comic-Cons or in real life go, "What's your favorite scary movie, Gail?" Or whatever your name is. So, like my short that I did a couple of days ago, so be sure to check that one out as well. But Scream, amazing. I love Scream. And it also gave birth to a couple of people's careers, too. Sidney Prescott, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard. Why was I blanking out on his name? And yeah, it created so many iconic movie lines that people replicate today. The kills aren't that gory, and they don't need to be. The opening scene with Drew Barrymore was amazing too, and one of the best openings to movies I've ever seen, and yeah, amazing. But coming in at number 1 for my favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park, the original. I love Jurassic Park to the day I die, and I have always loved this movie and did not know it was my favorite until I would say until last year, I found out that it was my favorite movie of all time. Yeah, it's very rewatchable, has a very unique plot. The dinosaurs are very realistic when you see them up close compared to nowadays CGI with the dinosaurs. It still looks amazing. Steven Spielberg was the right choice to direct this. I could just go on and on for days about this movie, but the video is a little bit too long now. So, like I said, guys, this is my list. Be sure to leave your list down below in the comments. And also, my friend Ace, who has his own YouTube channel named Skadooey, is doing his top 30 favorite movies of all time as well, so be sure to check him out. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number 1, it's absolutely free. Number 2, we are on the road to 70 subscribers, so please help your boy out one time, and we're literally just 2 away now. Don't forget to like the video if you like my movie list or whatever. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss notification when I upload. Also, do share the video because that would also help me out. But with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Peace.